Twitch.tv cooperates.
It's Brickroad, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the wild beyond the Witchlight.
Just wait for the ad. Featuring GV, Genie, Edmund, Econ, Victor, and Evie.
Oh, is that who we are?
I'm Razu, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm Biff the Understudy.
So Treble said we were going to play The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, so I went ahead and read the entire book because I'm
Did you know?
a dutiful player. I'm sure everybody was supposed to read the entire book, right?
Yeah. There will be a test.
Oh, no.
I have done my best in the stuff that I've prepared. Currently, I don't have everything prepared, just like the first and second, and then part of the third chapter prepared. But I've done my best to kind of include, because the book has some amazingly good art in it, like this piece right here, showing the Witchlight Carnival arriving on a plane of existence in their wagons with butterfly wings. So there is no 100-word summary this week, unfortunately, because we're starting.
Can we get a 100-word summary on why this would be a bitchin' tattoo?
That'd have to be like an arm sleeve, though.
I think I want a flying fox for insert MMO here as a mount.
You could get that on your back.
I'm not one for tattoos.
It would hurt.
Oh, you know what we do need to do is get rid of these player names. Don't need those. I don't even know who those people are.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were hinting when said we were Evie and Edmonton, etc. and so forth.
That was me.
Speaking of which, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Nah, that's alright.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Please introduce. We'll start at the top, since it's I guess it's technically your stream. Please introduce yourself and then your character. And then once that is done, well, actually, let me read this first, and then you can introduce your characters. The traveling extravaganza known as the Witchlight Carnival visits your world once every 8 years. You have a dim memory of sneaking into this carnival as a child without paying for a ticket. That memory has grown foggy over time, though it still conjures a weird mixture of emotions. Wonder and awe mixed with loss and regret. During this childhood visit, your character lost something. You tried to find it, but the carnival owners, a pair of elves named Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, were decidedly unhelpful. "Silly little screeching cricket," said Witch, "you forgot to buy a ticket." "The carnival goes round and round," said Light. "The multiverse is our playground. Nothing's free and nothing's lost. Every visit has its cost." I will not be rhyming, by the way, when I RP these characters, because reasons. As time passed, your hearts became less heavy, and you gave less and less thought to those childhood events. Now, for reasons that you can't explain, the longing to retrieve that which you have lost has resurfaced, as though an old spell has faded away, allowing you to feel the loss as sharply as it happened yesterday. The Witchlight Carnival has returned, and you find yourself standing near a ticket booth by the entrance at twilight, just as the carnival is about to open. There you meet others who look as troubled as you. Without knowing how or why, you sense that each of them has lost something as well. Perhaps fate has brought you together. And with that, please introduce your characters, starting at the top of the order.
I feel very awkward introducing myself on my own stream.
Do it.
So I'm Brickroad. This is my first time on the stream. I was just invited today. I will be playing Mrs. Fitzbiggins. So Witchlight introduced Haregons as a playable race, which are basically cartoon rabbits. So Mrs. Fitzbiggins is a disciplinarian schoolmarm, and she's very disappointed in all of you.
Do you want to tell everybody what was stolen from you during your previous visit to the Witchlight Carnival? Or do you want to keep that a secret?
They have stolen my sense of direction.
So what that means functionally is every time you like you try to like figure out which direction is which, I'm just gonna make you roll a wisdom check.
I can't just follow one of these other nerds.
You can, but what if you can't? Go down the line with Mr. Tyr McDohl.
I'm Tyr McDohl. You may remember me from such games as Flumph of the Wild, where I played a hobgoblin crazy person, or you may remember me from Flumscape, where I played a tiefling crazy person, or you may remember me from Flump Inc., where I played a tiefling crazy person. Well, this time, I decided to copy an NPC's homework from our current game, Raven Flumph, and I am Belshan, a human fighter with who is a polar master. So that's I copied off Orson's homework.
Good job.
Orson being the most competent player. In
Yeah.
Ravenfluff.
Oh, by
It's
far,
true.
right?
It's very true. Now, honestly, I really had a lot of trouble coming up with any kind of character concept because Razoneer stole mine.
Oh, did.
What?
You did.
What?
Anyway, we'll get to that. But what they have stolen from what the Witchlight Carnival has stolen from Belshan is a childhood stuffed animal of a lion.
A lion.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Next down the list, sitting at the blue table spot.
I am Error.
I am Bagu.
Wait, I have more lines than I am Error?
Yeah, I went for it.
I appreciate that, McDohl. That's what I appreciates about you.
Well, I used to be a speedrunner. Maybe I'll get back to it someday. But mainly do randomizers and have played a little bit of D&D. But this be the second time, maybe third time I've been at a brick table, and I've been in a game with Treble for at least a little bit.
Yeah, I hit his character with a car being driven by a zombie.
Nice.
And I lived. Barely. I am playing Turvum Dankilk, the Mountain Dwarf Paladin. And what I lost was my handwriting, basically. I can read it and write everything I put down, but for everyone else, it's all gibberish, and I'm going back to the Carnival because I'm tired of being called Sir Scribbles.
Mechanically, you can read his handwriting if you cast a magic spell that lets you like if you like decipher languages and stuff.
Yeah,
you can read
comprehend language.
Yeah, you have to. It takes a comprehend languages to read his handwriting.
I'm going to be
That's
honest.
how bad it is.
Excellent.
When Error
I think I might
described
have
this
that.
handwriting problem, I clicked the little button that said I'm in this picture and I don't like it. Nobody can read my handwriting.
And finally, we have sitting in Destel's normal spot, Razoneer.
Hi, I'm Razoneer. I've been here at the table with Error. We did a Tomb of Awful and Sad with Brickroad once, I think. It was awful and sad, but we had fun. God, this is so awkward because Treble made me do this. I want to lead off with this comment. So I'm going to describe Leonardo Rosewillow. Leonardo Rosewillow is an artist. He's a halfling. And if your characters are in the line looking around, you immediately see this halfling. He is wearing a suit of modest finery, clothes that have been both well-worn and well-maintained, if one were to inspect them closely. There's little need to do that, because the most eye-catching feature of his attire is how the entire thing comes together, or to be more precise, how it does not. He has a thick cloth jacket that has a high collar of brown earthen leather that complements the vivid blue of his shoulders, just like the springtime sky would accentuate a mound of dirt dug up by an undertaker. He has a black soft vest beneath all that frames the metal chains of silver, gold, and electrum that constantly threaten to entangle the talismans and medallions and charms that hang from him into some sort of perplexing knot. His sleeves are cuffed just above the wrist to reveal crimson red cloth. He wears fingerless gloves spattered with paint. His pants are like this chimera that has been stitched together from his two favorite pairs that he didn't decide what to wear on Tuesday or Thursday, so he stitched them together. The left half is yellow and purple diagonal stripes, and the right half is solid green. His boots are shiny and reflective, and you think they're made of metal. And I hope you got all that because there will be a quiz. Can you guess what he lost? That's right, his sense of fashion.
Oh, I was gonna guess his virginity.
No. Who would sleep with someone like that? Don't be ridiculous.
I like how all of
Listen.
us have lost like these abstract concepts, like bits of our like brain functionality, except for McDohl's character, who just lost to Stuffy.
Well, so there's a chart, and I rolled for everybody, and that's he just got he just
I got the
lost
short
his,
end of the stick.
Yeah. Treble was like, okay, now you have to write a 250-word summary of your character's description. I'm like, when the hell am I going to do that? Okay, let's do it now. I'm going to delete this file. I don't want it.
So I have.
Oh.
I've been basically with you describing all of that. My brain was just like, okay, Colin Baker from Doctor Who.
I was going for Kafka, but yeah.
So other things that could have lost, just you could have lost your ability to keep secrets, your ability to smile, your artistic creativity, the stuffed animal or doll, your handwriting, your sense of direction, your sense of fashion, or 3 inches of height. That's the chart.
Yeah, like stuffed animal or doll does not belong on that chart.
Yeah,
Surely,
I know.
it surely doesn't.
Right?
But so, as you turn to face the carnival, the first stars of night twinkle above the apricot sunset. Giant dragonflies whir overhead. Trailing streamers and a low mist curls over the ground. Through a floral archway, you glimpse wondrous and vibrant creatures, elf stiltwalkers, dancing fairies, and painted performers. Everywhere there is laughter, pixie dust, bubbles, and the wistful tune of a whistling calliope. You are here at the ticket booth.
This looks like some Disney shit right here.
Entry without a ticket is strictly prohibited.
Yeah, oh, by the way, so
So
Oh,
we
is
already
it
didn't
now?
do that. So we already
you're-
didn't do that.
yeah, in the past, and it turned out very well for you. So you are currently at the ticket booth. A silver statue of a dancing fairy is mounted on the roof of this ticket booth. Oh, do you want to spend a couple of minutes we'll just gloss over that. Your characters came together. You decided to explore the carnival together. We ain't got time for this. We're we're speed running this campaign settings.
You, and you. Let's go. Let's go.
Everybody get ready to backwards long jump. All right, a silver statue of a dancing fairy is mounted on the roof of this ticket booth and surrounded by fluttering butterflies. The booth is decorated by an animated depiction of the night sky with shooting stars arcing across it. An elderly goblin perches behind the ticket counter, peering at you quizzically through a spyglass. He lowers the spyglass and calls out to you, "Greetings, fair fairgoers!"
I give him a disapproving look.
This goblin is older than you
Okay.
by a wide margin.
And yet,
Ooh.
And
Are
he
you
is- Go ahead.
are you allowed to give a disapproving look to someone older than you? Is that kosher?
Mrs. Fitzbiggins gives disapproving looks to everybody she comes across. She's very disappointed in you. Also,
Leonardo kind of just shyly looks away.
she doesn't have any gold with which to purchase a ticket.
Mm.
He goes, the goblin pulls out a comically sized cone and he puts it to his ear. And so he's like looking down this spyglass at you while holding one of those ear horns to you and says, "My name is Nicholas Midnight. Who might I have the pleasure of meeting?"
Which one of us is in the lead? Because it's not me, because I have no idea which way I'm going.
And he is waiting for one of you to introduce yourselves.
I'll go first, I guess. Leonardo bows and approaches the ticket counter and says, Hello, my name is Leonardo Rosewillow. I'm an artist in the village here. One ticket, please.
Rosewillow, you say? And he like puts his ear horn and spyglass down. He reaches behind the counter that he is sitting on, and he pulls up a nice like mahogany box with this incredibly ornate mahogany box with a silver clasp. On the roof of it, it's monogrammed N.M. And he opens it, and he says, "Would you happen to be traveling with a Mrs. Fitzbiggins,
Present.
a Turvum, and a Belshan?"
Oh, yes, and I believe we are in quite the hurry.
And he goes, well, it is your lucky day. Somebody has prepaid for your tickets. And here are your tickets.
May I inquire as to who this benefactor is?
I did not catch their name, no. But she was in and out very quickly.
She. Well, that's a start, I suppose.
And there are your tickets. And he explains that each one of these tickets is good for 8 punches. And that's what the little... I just noticed there's like 9 punches on these. They're supposed to... No, there's 8. There's 8.
It's just they're organized different.
Right. So each one of these butterflies is a spot for a punch, and they are good for 8 rides. Each one is good for a single ride. And he tells you to enjoy your stay.
I ask which way to the lost and found.
And he points over that way.
And I immediately begin walking the opposite direction.
Right.
I'll reach out gently, guide Mrs. Fizzbottom in the direction that
He calls you Mrs. Fitzbottom.
I gruffly tell Belshan to keep his hands to himself and wrap his knuckles, but then I turn around and follow him towards the lost property. Does the lost property booth count as a ride?
No. So basically, not everything in here is a ride. Not everything in here, not all of the attractions require a punch.
Well, Mrs. Fitzbiggins is muttering something about not having time for any of this tomfoolery. She's just going to go to the lost property, get her sense of direction back, and then she's got things to do.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
Mrs. Fitzbiggin, you forgot your ticket.
No, I'm holding my... I have no sense of direction. I'm not scatterbrained.
So anyway, as you walk along the path, you pass the Calliope, and I normally would just post this in the Flumph chat, so I will post it in the Flumph chat, but I will also post it in the personal things there, to where you hear a jaunty little Calliope tune, and as you're walking down the main thoroughfare there, we get to our first event on the time thing. As you're walking down the main thoroughfare heading towards the lost property... oh no, I closed my notes. Don't you hate it when that happens?
Yes, I do.
As you're walking down the main thoroughfare, you see a procession of witchlight hands and a large treant. Well, large. He's taller than you, but I guess you would assume he's kind of small for a treant. Maybe it's a younger treant. And the treant is throwing its hands up in the air, and these golden acorns are flying out from it. And they're falling to the ground, and there's a small red squirrel running around handing people dandelions, and the squirrel is telling people, here, make a wish. And he actually runs up to all 4 of you, says, make a wish, and hands you a dandelion, and then also says, also try to catch one of the acorns. And if you want to try and catch an acorn,
Yeah.
make a DC
Sure.
10 dexterity check. Or dexterity check, yes. Just a straight dex check. DC is 10. What about Mrs. Fitzbiggins? She wants to do it?
No, Mrs. Fitzbiggin wishes that somebody would come tidy up all these acorns.
Miss Fitzbiggin does have a did she take the dandelion?
Of course, it would be rude not to take something that's offered.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So who got of the three of you? Who got a 10?
I have
Nope.
17.
Okay. So the two. What about you, Er?
I think you might be muted there.
I'm going to keep a running count of all of the checks McDohl fails.
Oh no, that'll be like all of them.
That's one.
All right, let's try this again.
Okay. What did you roll? You DC 10 dexterity check.
I didn't make it. That's a 5.
Okay. So all of you, the three of you, like flail for the acorns and the incredibly easy check and just kind of like trip over each other. And the only one of you that manages to catch something is Leonardo, as Mrs. Fitzbiggin looks upon the three of yours japery, I guess, would be the best way to describe it.
Tomfoolery, for sure.
Tomfoolery? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. He looks upon your tomfoolery. She looks upon your tomfoolery in utter disdain. So you have all four of you have a dandelion, and you can use it to make a wish. And one of you has a sycamore seed. I need Leonardo to roll me a d8. And do the rest of you use your dandelions to make a wish?
Yeah, I wish somebody would come and clean up all these untidy acorns.
Okay.
D8, I have 3.
A 3. Until the next dawn, your other personality traits are... Well, in addition to your normal personality traits, you have the personality trait, I am easily amused. Any inflicting character trait is suppressed in the meantime.
No changes. There is no noticeable change in Leonardo's personality.
So,
This is lovely.
Well, yeah, I would like to make a wish.
Okay.
I want people to be able to read my handwriting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make my wish too. Leonardo's wish is, goodness, I wish these blues look better on me.
Okay. What about Belshan? Does he make a wish?
Can't think of one off the top of my head.
Okay. It's not required.
Trying.
Alright.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
Were we handed like
Alright.
little pamphlet maps with all this stuff in it?
Yes.
Nice.
You were given a map along with your ticket. So I'm just writing, just making notes of who.
Oh, I just noticed up here the
Good job.
Flumph of time.
And after I, solemnly grip the dandelion, solemnly make my wish, I pull, I've seen, Mrs. Fitzbiggins be a little bit grumpy, so I need to pull up everyone's names.
So do you guys, just because you're going to be walking by it, do you stop at the Calliope or do you go straight for lost property?
Leonardo would stop at it.
And I'm following Leonardo, so I guess I also stop at it, but I definitely do not approve.
Oh, I
Definitely
thought I was in the back. But sure, everyone stops.
Mrs. Fitzbiggin has no sense of direction. Like, if she tries to go anywhere, I'm going to make her roll a dice.
I think Leonardo would quickly realize that and realize, oh, he could probably just go wherever he wants to then.
Yeah.
She's beholden to him.
Meanwhile, after I take my wish, I pull Belshan aside and I, get something to write something in the dirt. It's like, and I write the word hello. It's like, can you see that?
Is that
No.
Dwarven?
That's
It
That
looks a little
look-
bit like a. It looks a little
looks
bit.
like a house.
Yeah, a little bit like a house. Maybe it's on fire.
I observe that nobody is coming around to tidy up all these acorns.
I already have one. Why would I need a second?
As soon as the acorns hit the ground, after a few moments, they actually disappear in a puff of golden sparkles.
Ah, see, you got what you wanted after all. That's the beauty of the carnival.
Yeah, now I wish I'd wished for something better.
Don't worry, they don't work.
So, as Leonardo kind of leads you guys along to the Calliope and slows down and stops, you kind of get your first look at it. A merry tune spills forth from an instrument on the back of a brightly painted wagon. There's a monkey wearing a cloak covered with buttons, turning a handle at the wagon's rear, sending music into the air from rows of golden whistles. As you watch, another goblin, dressed as a ladybug, toddles up to you, rattling a tin cup. Oh, by the way, as part of your ticket, and I glossed over this, you were given a pair of butterfly wings. You were told that the butterfly wings allow you to be identified as a guest with a ticket at a moment's glance. You are not required to wear them, but you are required to have them visible, if that makes sense.
Leonardo immediately puts them on, and then, how do they look?
They look great. At least you
He's
think so.
convinced.
Did-
He's
did-
convinced.
Well,
They,
at
they
least
do take they do dilute the attention toward your clothing a little bit.
Are you-
Excuse me.
Are
I
you
don't
sure you
want
have a?
anything diluted.
Are you sure you haven't worked here for years?
Well, no.
So which one? So does Miss Fitzbiggin and Turvum and Belshan put their wings on, or do they merely display them like on their bot, maybe in their belt or something?
Wearing fairy wings seems a little childish, so she's
They are
just gonna...
not fairy wings; they're butterfly wings.
What's the difference between fairy wings and butterfly wings?
I don't know. Ask a fairy.
Oh my god. No, she's gonna wear hers on her belt, because this all seems like childish nonsense and she does not approve.
Well,
I'll put mine
It's
on.
hard to put that on over armor, so no, I will display that on my belt.
they are big enough to wear over your armor. If that
No,
is...
no, that's a. You don't understand. I don't want to wear these. These
You are not.
terrifying
You are not
things.
required to, but it is strongly suggested that you do.
I don't want to be a cowboy.
Belshan, attach the wings to your belt and stop complaining about it. Stand up straight.
It's great.
It's great.
Look. I know what happened. I know what happened last time we were here. I'm gonna do what they say for now, until I get what I have back, until I get what I want, and then I'm out of here.
You have a good point. I did just think they were fashionable, though.
Turvum, find us a fairy so we can ask them what the difference is between fairy wings and butterfly wings.
Well, maybe they're at the lost property. I don't know.
Well, that's where we're
I've
headed
never
right
seen a
now,
fairy
aren't we?
before.
Yes, it is. As you approach Lost Property, you see a wagon. Outside the Lost Property wagon is a large feline creature with midnight blue fur. It has a pair of tentacles extending from its shoulders, and it wears the fake butterfly wings. Hanging from its collar is a small wooden keg. The creature roughhouses with two young boys. One boy squeals, "Again, Dirla, again!" while the other hangs onto the creature's neck.
Adorable.
And let me actually...
And staying back to see what the again means.
There you go. There is Durlagroon, the Displacer Beast. And this is what you see as you walk up to the Lost Property.
Good God, that cat is bigger than I am.
Is the
As
small
you-
child included?
Looks a lot prettier too.
Yeah, the small child is actually there. There's like several children playing with this Displacer Beast.
I wonder aloud where those children's parents are, because it seems like this is a very unsafe place for their children to be playing.
At that, Dialragoon, Garoon, I'm just going to call her Dilra. Dilra speaks up and says, in a low, rumbly voice, this is the lost property things. We are just merely waiting for the children's parents to come find them. Do not be worried. There are Witchlight hands wandering around looking for their parents. We are merely keeping them safe until such a time as they can be collected.
Collected by whom?
Their parents.
So who's running the lost property wagon?
The Displacer Beast.
He's actually in charge.
Yes.
Okay. I'm the most responsible one, I suppose.
Sir. Do you have lost property from, say, 8 years ago?
One of the tentacles whips around and kind of like starts stroking the Displacer Beast's chin, and he says, We can check, but generally speaking, what are you looking for again? Maybe there's a jacket or two.
We seem to be missing some abstract concepts. Do you have any abstract concepts in lost property?
The Displacer Beast tilts his head, and as he opens his mouth to speak, one of the boys that was hanging on his neck earlier picks up a mirrored ball from the shelf on the lost property wagon and raises it above his head. Dialogorn snatches the ball back with a snarl with one of its tentacles, and the child dashes away in fright. Immediately, you see, if you can, like, it's very difficult to see, but, like, you see this look of just remorse on this face, and he puts it down and he hangs his head in shame. And he says, "Oh no, I have to go find that child, but I can't leave the other children." He goes, and during this, he's hugging the mirrored ball. And the little girl that you see in this picture is hugging the Displacer Beast's neck. And she says, "Are you okay?" And he apologizes to her and says, "I am sorry, this ball belongs to my own missing child."
Wait a minute. Is this a Displacer Beast or a Misplacer Beast?
Oh, no. So, if you were capable of getting inspiration, Brickroad, I would take inspiration from your entire party for that. So,
Wait, that's not the intended pun of this encounter?
possibly. So, this... Dialra lifts his head up and says, "If you do not mind, might I impose your help? Can you please help me help me recover the child that ran away? If you do, I will endeavor to help you find the things you have asked me for."
Does he have a name? What does he look like?
He tells you the young boy's name is Alwyn.
Oh,
And
what was he wearing when he came into the thing?
he describes
Carnival.
he describes the young boy to you, and says that generally he couldn't have gotten far because he just ran away, and that he would normally go collect the child himself, but he's got two other children to look after, and he doesn't want to leave them alone as well.
So this is convenient because Leonardo is an artist and was drawing this Displacer Beast and might have actually been sketching this kid.
Okay. Any of you that want to help Dialogorn help him. I don't even know why I said off, but help him during this. Make me a perception check to see if you can see where the child went during his sojourn.
Is this check even helpful for me?
Yeah. You're perceptive. It's just like if you start looking around, you just like if you try to like pick a direction, you're like, I'm gonna go north. That's a crapshoot.
How does a 10 do you?
10 does not do it.
Turvum rolled a 12.
Turvum. Anybody beat a
Also
12?
I have 10.
Also a 10.
Okay. Turvum.
That's 2.
Turvum. I'm sorry. Okay, I've recovered. Turvum, you after you guys look around for about 15 minutes or so, in the stalls around the lost property line. You actually find the young boy holed up in a nearby candy stall. He is in a what could be best described as a sugar coma, lying behind the stalls, like underneath the stall table, and he has consumed an inordinate amount of cotton candy.
Is nobody working this stall?
This stall, there's a sign that says "Gone to lunch, be back in 15 minutes."
So in the span of 15 minutes, this kid has hopped into the stall and consumed all of the cotton candy.
Correct.
Gorged himself, huh?
Whoops.
While Turvum is making a collecting this child, I need the other three of you to roll me another perception check.
Ten.
Hang on.
20.
20. Ooh. What you got?
9.
9. Okay. That was a pretty
That's-
high DC. Don't feel bad about that one, McDohl. That was a pretty high DC.
He still failed, though.
That's 3.
And that's 3.
3
He
of
still
3.
failed.
You're at 100% still.
Mrs. Fitzbiggins, as you're disapprovingly watch this child be collected, out of the corner of your eye, you see another small figure standing a distance away.
Inside the candy stall?
Not in the candy stall. So we'll say this is the candy stall, and you're kind of over here more towards the lost property wagon. You're watching this. Kind of off in the corner over here, you see a short individual wearing a pig mask holding a giant lollipop just staring at you.
A child?
It is the size of a child.
Is it wearing fairy wings?
It is not wearing fairy wings.
I see if I can flag down Carnival staff and point out somebody who snuck onto the grounds without paying for a ticket.
Okay. You flag down, and then when you turn around, the figure is gone.
Well, okay, I guess the Carnival's going to steal his ability to pee standing up, and it's not my problem anymore.
That's not on the list. That would be a terrible thing to have lost. Anyway, so you have a child who is in a sugar coma. What do you do?
I admonish the child and point out, you have a bellyache, don't you?
All right, son, how you feeling?
I have a bellyache.
Well, have we learned something? Okay, come on. The
Does the
big
boy
old-
have wings?
Well, yeah, the boy has wings on.
Okay.
He goes, the blueberry is better than the raspberry?
Well, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry. The big old grumpy cat that didn't mean anything when he was just watching out for what he's just doing his job. Now, come on, let's go back to and so your parents can find you. And I go over and I want to basically. I assume he's lying on the ground, so I want to go try and pick him up and carry him and take him back.
Yeah. Yeah. After a few moments, you bring the child, whose name is Alwyn, back to the lost property wagon. And you are met with a very visibly relieved Displacer Beast. Those of you that are adventurers, I know that Mrs. Fitzbiggins and Leonardo have specifically said they are not adventurers. What about the other two of you?
Oh. Belshan's probably heard about these kinds of things. That's why he was very nervous about this thing, and why, like, normally they don't talk, which that's what I hear anyway.
Yep. Normally they are a lot more aggressive, and it is kind of disconcerting to you to see like visible relief at the safe return of this child on such a monstrous face. But you
Yeah.
are also aware that this is a Fey carnival, and lots of disconcerting and weird things are going to probably happen as you continue to investigate.
Do we remember like little things like that now from 8 years ago? Just seeing creatures like this, because I know you had said that this had been a little. The memories of this place were a little bit muddied, but how much of it has actually come back now that we're here and it's shown up?
You have flashes of what did I tell you? Wonder and awe mixed with loss and regret.
Right. Okay.
So, like, you remember being here, you remember speaking with Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, but, I mean, 8 years is a long time, and, some of the attractions have probably changed since then.
So that's actually something that Leonardo is going to do. Like, he's drawn the Displacer Beast in his book, but a lot of this is just he's going to draw things he sees when the party stops at a place, and if any of it like jars any sort of memory, if anything shakes out, he's going to make mention of it.
So, hold on. I have notes here on how to pronounce these names. I'm just going to start calling him Dilra. Dilra looks at you and says, he thanks you, and he kind of gets up and he sketches a deep bow, using his tentacles kind of as arms to go underneath his chin. And he thanks you, and then he says, now, you mentioned having lost something. Please, let me help you find it. I will do everything I can, as long as I do not have to leave the lost property and these children. Can you please explain some more?
I must admit that this isn't my first visit to the carnival.
And he's listening intently to any stories you want to tell him.
But, and I say this a little sheepishly, we didn't come in invited, to say the least.
You snuck in without a ticket. Well, that happens from now and again.
Yeah, so that was 8 years ago. So as I'm sure you know that the carnival always takes payment to enter.
He goes,
Boyish pranks being what they are.
The Displacer Beast kind of tilts its head and looks at you like it's not really comprehending what you're hinting at.
Mrs. Fitzbiggins mentioned abstract items that we were missing, and
Yeah, generally we don't get too many abstract concepts in the Lost Property Wagon.
Would you know where perhaps there's an abstract lost property somewhere on the grounds?
He laughs at that joke. Says, "That's a good one."
perhaps
Very funny indeed.
perhaps is there a chance that we could see Mr. Light or Mr. Witch?
Mr. Light and Mr. Witch have been rather on edge lately. If you want to investigate them, my advice is not to confront them directly. There are several ways you could get their attention. Or you could try sneaking into the staff area, I suppose, although I do not recommend that. If you get caught, you'll be thrown out of the carnival and barred from entry until the next time the carnival leaves and comes back in 8 years' time.
So what are some of the ways we can get their attention?
Diara talks about how at the 4th hour of the carnival, there is an extravaganza. And acts that suitably impress Mr. Witch and Mr. Light can have them invite the performers back to the staff area for a private meeting. They have recruited many acts into the Witchlight Carnival that way, and that another way is they often talk to people who have a profound effect on the carnival. He explains that this is a magical carnival, and the attendees have a palpable effect on the overall atmosphere of the place. Belligerent and harmful attendees cause the overall mood to sour, and particularly happy and helpful people who are willing to go along with the nonsense can raise the mood of the carnival.
These faces are terrifying.
That is Mr. Light, I want to say. So, and yeah, he's a little terrifying.
He's very expressive, for sure.
He goes, and often Mr. Often Mr. Light will approach people. So he's saying that Mr. Witch will approach people who do well at the big top, and Mr. Light tends to approach people who have a extreme effect on the mood of the carnival. Is basically what it boils down to. He goes,
Now,
and
by
he tells you
extreme effect, he means like setting fires.
If you say that out loud, he'll say, "Please do not destroy property. You will be escorted." He goes, things like assault, theft, destruction of property will see you escorted from the carnival grounds.
Well, then whoever stole our property was escorted out 8 years ago. Then, by that logic.
Possible.
Oh wait, logic doesn't apply here. I forgot.
He goes, and he looks at you and says, "There are rules in place, no matter in any gathering of Fey." He goes, "You best mind the rules of the carnival."
I ask if we can get a printout of the rules.
He goes, he goes, "Just be polite and enjoy yourselves, and that will suffice."
Well,
You know, Mrs. Fitzbiggins, you might want to escort yourself out.
my other three companions appear to have lost something that cannot be held in one's hands. The thing that I lost can, and he describes this cute little lion that's just like, you wouldn't think like this stoic warrior type would like ask for something like this, but the way he talks is like, it's almost like he's 6 years old again about it.
That's adorable. So as he's listening to you, he reaches in with a tentacle that is a lot longer than you think it should be, but he reaches in and he pulls out a box that says, it just says free on it. And he pulls it and says, "This is these are the items that have not been claimed in so long that they're just up for grabs. Generally, I find little trinkets and baubles to keep the children, to give them something positive to remember the experience of temporarily losing their parents and being lost in a strange place with." He goes, "But here you go. Look, see if your item is in there."
Belshan's face immediately drops when it's explained that way, and he half-heartedly starts digging through this box.
He's like, I left that lion 8 years ago. Somebody definitely took it.
Exactly.
Out
It's
of
a good
the
lion.
free box.
It's the best lion ever.
Oh man, I would have
Yeah.
taken that the first thing.
So, you do not find a stuff flying, but you do find, and if we were like going to go through this and worry about keeping it up, you do find it's called a Feywild Trinket. Okay, so it's like a different trinket table that than like a normal character gets to roll on or whatever, and they do have a use in the thing. So you get one Feywild Trinket.
Yay!
So just hold on to that for later. It
Sure.
might be useful. You never know.
You never know. He
Mrs.
looks at it,
Fitzbiggins
still
does not
still very
approve.
dejected.
What did he take out of the box? Just an arbitrary trinket?
An arbitrary trinket. Yeah, I can roll if you want to know what it is.
Belshan, does that belong to you?
It does, and then he says, Diara says, what once was abandoned now has found a new owner.
This isn't the abandoned property wagon. This is the lost property wagon. Lost does not mean abandoned. Are these
Oh, it's
children
all-
abandoned?
That's all a matter of perspective. Perhaps the object lost an owner, and now it has one again.
That's nonsense, and you know it.
Do you want something out of the box, Mrs. Fitzbiggins?
No, none of it's mine. I'm lawful good. I can't take something that's not mine.
Just to be clear, like none of this has an owner. Like,
Everything has an owner. That's what lawful means.
okay, I guess that's fair.
No, Mrs. Fitzbiggins not taking anything out of the free box.
All right. Not taking it's like when you go to the dentist and like they're like you've been such a good boy that you get
A toothbrush.
A little crappy rubber band gun or something.
54. McDohl, your trinket is a red cap that droops down to one's shoulders when worn.
That would look
Oh,
great
man.
on Leonardo.
Leonardo should have wore that.
I'm picturing
No,
Leonardo's already wearing like 3 hats.
He doesn't actually have a hat.
Belshan puts the hat on, but he still feels very melancholic about it.
So keep track of how many, like if any of you get any the Feywild trinkets, keep track of how many you have. That it might come up later.
Okay.
I'd like to ask the little boy if he's still there, if he still has a tummy ache.
And he's sitting there rubbing his tummy. And again, like this child is past the point where like children get where they've had so much sugar that they have literally vibrated themselves into just stillness. The world is racing so much for this child that when you look at him, his eyes are spinning. He has consumed far too much sugar for his own good, but he'll live.
Well, I'll put my hand on him and say, well, just wait for your parents here, and maybe I can make you feel a little better. And I'd like to use a point of lay on hands on him.
Use point of lay on hands, and this child recovers and thanks you graciously and says, kind of gets up with wide eyes and like, what did you do? How did you do that? He starts asking you 10,000 questions.
And I start going into the Order of Paladins. It's like I worship Moradin, and how he's the great Lord of all the dwarves and all of that. He flows his power through me. And
15
and all
words
that
into
stuff.
your explanation, the child's eyes glaze over and he wanders away.
And all you've accomplished, you think you've performed a kindness, but all you've accomplished is that child is immediately going to run off and eat way more candy floss again.
And after I see him run off and I'm just like, oh, maybe one day.
Well, the child runs over and like immediately starts playing with the little boy and the little girl that are waiting at the lost property wagon with him.
So our
I wasn't
plan-
aware that sugar was like a damage type.
So
he took
you
10
say that-
confectionery damage.
you say that. I just hope you get there.
Oh no.
So we either have to misbehave so badly in the carnival that one of the guys approaches us, or we have to come up with a circus act to perform at the big top.
Behave, not misbehave. Behave.
And
Either or, right?
and he also and he speaks up and says, some of the other attendees at some of the other staff members could tell you more as well. He goes, I don't get out much. He goes, especially since I've lost my. And then he kind of snaps up and says, can I ask you a favor? If you're out in the world and you see a kitten, a small kitten with tentacles, obviously.
6 paws, tentacles like you.
Yeah. And his name is Starlight. And answers to the name Starlight. Do you think you could bring him home?
Well, that depends. How do we tell whether he's lost or whether he's been abandoned?
You
And
can check the box. Leonardo returns to his drawing.
you said something that really has caused this Displacer Beast to kind of fall into a melancholy.
Hey,
Yeah, I have that effect on people.
And
Don't
the
take
mood
it.
of the carnival slips down.
please don't take it personal.
Oh, God.
You know, when he said that abstract things, you know, Mrs. Fitzbiggins lost her ability to be nice. So I don't know what.
Make me a persuasion check at disadvantage.
I actually have an idea here.
And I tell you what, if we'll make this a group check, everybody
Oh.
can make this check, and if 2 or more of you pass, then it is considered a success.
I'd like to propose an idea. Leonardo brings his sketchbook over to the Displacer Beast and says, I've captured your likeness. If he looks similar to you, then it shouldn't be difficult to show this to him and have him recognize you, right?
You can make that check at advantage.
I rolled a
Thank
3, but I'm also not really interested in persuading this Displacer Beast to not be sad that he has abandoned his child.
17.
Okay, that's enough. You managed to cheer up the.
I have 19.
Okay, that's 3 passes, so that beats the 2 that you needed, and he lightens back up and says, "Thank you much for your help." And he goes, "I appreciate it." And the mood of the carnival shifts back up.
I offer no promises, but I will keep an eye out.
And he goes, "I do recommend you speak to the other attraction managers. They hear things, you know."
I want to hear Rez's idea, but first I just want to point out that I'm going to assume it's bad if the mood reaches either extreme.
It could be.
Because one of these guys is crying his eyes out, and the other guy is like baby-eatingly insane. So...
Baby-eatingly insane, you say.
So Leonardo's idea, he sort of will just be drawing everything he sees on a whim.
Okay.
This drawing of the Displacer Beast, you could just be shown to any other Displacer Beast that speaks and then we could communicate with and say, is this your father?
Are you my dad?
No, not me, the drawing.
Can you even tell the gender of a Displacer Beast?
I mean, if you lift up the
Like
leg.
anyone else, right?
So,
Is the Displacer Beast wearing pants?
we'll have to find... This Displacer Beast is not wearing pants.
Let me
He
check
is-
the photograph that I drew. Oh, it's not.
All right. Are you guys done at the lost property wagon? You've kind of...
Closed. Can't really.
Leonardo's going to recommend that if we need to cover more ground, like we should stay on the same side of the carnival, but perhaps split up.